Well, Reese
at this point
has a lock on this with 10 high.
It's super interesting if Loeser bets, because you would imagine that pre-flop he shoves pretty much every queen, every king, every ace. So unless he's trapping with a jack, man, honestly, I know this sounds crazy to say, but Ryan Reese with 10 high might be pretty suspicious of this all in. This would be one of the most insane calls we've ever seen on an EPT final table to call with 10 high, but honestly, I don't think it'd be the craziest one. He might be able to work this out, that his opponent's never doing this with an ace high, king high, doesn't have them pre-flop. A lot of the time he's going to have these delayed bluffs. Can he make a wild call with the 10 deuce? He is definitely thinking about it.
7 to 7 to.
Looks like he might only have one more time bank left.
Have you ever found yourself in an MTT, Finton, where you've called all in with 10 high and been right?
Definitely not on a final table, not even close. This would be one of the sickest calls ever. But it just doesn't make sense from the 6 deuce. Oh, what a call!
He calls all in with 10 high and will get the double up.
What a call!
950.
Maybe he grew up a huge Doyle Brunson fan.
Thought you had a 7 high call guy.
Wow. Insane.
7 high would have been tough.
We might be about to have another epic moment right now. The
Huang
king and the king.
shoving with the kings for 12 big blinds. Oh, Katzenberger's got 7s.
Super close spot for Katzenberger. Haven't seen his opponent earlier in the day shove the ace deuce suited for 20 big blinds. I think he's going to call with the 7s as we see him shove all in.
Reese shoves to isolate, everyone else folds, and here we go. Huang all in and at risk, but he's a 4-1 favorite, dominating Katzenberger, kings over 7s. However, there was a wise philosopher by the name of Professor Andre Latau who once conceded that the 7 is always coming. Well, it hasn't come on the flop. Or the turn. Will we see a 7 on the river? No. It's a double up for Wei Huang. And we are still 5-handed at the EPT Monte Carlo final table.
Incredible scenes.
Grieco opening with 6-5 of hearts. Wei Huang has ace-5 in the big blind. A stack of 4 million.
Going to defend, and we are going to see a flop, 1.3 million in the middle.
Nine, 5, 3.
Did you just say all in?
Who just shoved? Grieco. Huang checked to him and Grieco shoves.
We have seen him make this move once before when he showed ace high on queen 9-4. Made Ryan Reese fold middle pair previously. Will Huang make the call here with second pair?
It's exactly the same situation. This time, Grieco does actually have a piece of the board, but Huang has him out-kicked. That was a time bank card. He's not folded.
This is a big decision. There's Huang that'll be at risk. And of course, we know that Ryan Reese right now has 11 big blinds, something that he's 100% going to be considering. If he makes the call, he's going to be in great shape for the double up.
But I think you're right, Finton. The fact that Grieco played that hand against Reese exactly the same and showed that it was a bluff will inform this decision.
Absolutely. The question is whether he thinks he would do it twice as a bluff. It's so hard to imagine that somebody shoves tens, jacks, a good 9 on this board, given how dry it is.
I mean, he just snap shoved, almost like he decided he was going to make that move before the flop was even dealt.
It doesn't make it an easy call. But without a flush draw out there, I feel like he might make this call. The longer he deliberates, I think it's the more likely he's going to call. Grieco does not look happy.
You want me call?
What?
Do you want me call?
I don't understand.
Has been in the tank for 2 minutes. Looks like he still has a few time bank cards to make this decision.
Gonna run out of time bank cards sooner or later.
Might only have one more, which means has about 50 seconds to make his mind up.
It's all in to call. He has the best hand, second pair with the ace kicker.
Last time bank is in there. 30 seconds to make up his mind.
So the next countdown is the last. If the clock hits 0 now, his hand will be declared dead. You can see it just below the hand graphics. 17 seconds. He calls it all in. Showdown. 6-5, ace-5, boom! And a 77% chance that Wei Huang doubles up here. Huang is the at-risk player, but is currently ahead. Four on the turn. Gives Grieco additional outs. He's got deuces, sixes, and sevens working for him. 11 cards that could hit on the river that would eliminate Huang, but that is a blank, and Huang gets the double up through Grieco. So, Huang is now pretty much tied with Loeser for the chip lead. Both players have 43 big blinds, and Nicola Grieco is now the low man at the table.
All right, hand number 197, Ryan Reese, under the gun. Probably the most never say die of these Goonies. 6 big blinds yesterday, down to 6 at various points again today. Up and down. Grieco all in on the button with ace-king. Victor Katzenberger, what say you at 10-6? That seems like an easy fold. Manic Loeser. Leaning in for the squeeze. The peel, 8-7. Seems kind of foldable also.
Okay, gamble.
What happened? He said, I'm going to gamble and called?
Oh, wow.
Holy, live cards, Batman.
Oh, he doesn't look happy.
Loeser's had enough.
I mean, it's a situation where you want the call, but it's also a situation where you don't want the call.
He's done it. He's cracked. Reiner Kempa on the rail. Hot
There's
off
Reiner.
Hot win in the 25K.
That's right. Congratulations to Reiner as well. I was literally having a drink with him last week.
Sick brag.
Here in Brighton. Casual brag.
8-7 on the flop.
Oh,
Grieco flopped nearly dead. What a way to go. Grieco came in today as the overwhelming chip leader. Many thought he would be out after the first few hours. When things fell apart, he is drawing dead on the turn. Done. Finally, Nicola Grieco is out of here. Greek gone. 5th place, 206,590 euros. We did it, you guys. It's over. Right? Wait, we have to still play more? Manic Loeser, under the gun. Hand 200. King 6 of diamonds. That's right, everybody. It's time to play ball. 500's the raise. Ryan Reese, no chance he gets away from this. Pocket 6 is on the button. He's all in.
I think King 6 of diamonds is probably always going to be a call here, especially after there's been a raise pre-flop.
Well, hold your horses. Nope, Katzenberger has no hand. And there's the same dejected, defeated call that we saw with the 8-7. Time to gamble once again. One overcard for Loeser. Ryan Reese has been all in for his tournament life multiple times over the past 48 hours. Every time he has come out unscathed, including when he was behind. This time he is ahead. The flop. 8-7-4, 1 diamond. Chopportunities abound. The turn is another 8. Some counterfeit outs now for Loeser.
That's right.
Pocket 6 is still the big favorite. Reese just needs to fade a king or a 7. The river is a 5. Oh, man.
Ooh.
Almost as bad as a loss in that spot. I'm not going to lie. That's disappointing.
Everybody loves a chop pots.
That was perfect. That was the perfect, sad, everybody loves a chop pot. Katzenberger gets no love with the kings. Queen 8. Folds it. 9 tray for Loeser. Can't do it. I imagine these chips are going in with many, many, many hand combinations. Queen tray. All in. And Nick, you're the expert in this situation, but this is a call, is it not?
I believe, according to the Nash equilibrium, it is.
Is that a real thing?
It is a real thing, absolutely.
Is that a beautiful mind, John Nash?
No, it was a... oh, actually, it might have been.
Either way, speaking of ways, Huang does make the call. Ryan Reese, a slight favorite. At risk. Ryan Reese, tournament life on the line yet again. Flops ace, ace, queen. Very, very likely Ryan Reese will be sticking around this hand. Also, very unlikely to see a chop this time. The turn is a 10. Never easy, is it? And it's a diamond. So many outs now for Huang. Holy shnikes. 10 outs. Oh, man.
Oh, that's it.
That is rough. After that flop, Ryan Reese is supposed to survive that all-in. What a horrific run out. What an impressive performance today and yesterday, this entire tournament from Ryan Reese. Finishes in a disappointing 4th place, but did manage to ladder up another $60,000.
Did you see the run out?
Ace-5 of diamonds for Manic Loeser, and it's a button raise. 500,000. Ace-10 again for Huang. Ace-10 of clubs in the small blind.
This is an interesting situation where ace-10 off is almost certainly, in the previous situation, a shove, an auto shove. Ace-10 suited has such better playability, though.
So he's decided just to call. Katzenberger, the short stack at the table, has ace-deuce in the big. Looking at a lot of dead money out there.
This could certainly just be a pre-flop shove, and I think it's going to be profitable over a decent-sized sample. But when you're on an EPT final table, you only got one sample. You only got one spot.
There's the all-in.
And I'm assuming that's a trap with the ace-10 of clubs. It's going to be a call.
Well, Loeser with the ace-5. Folds. Action on Huang. He's asked for a count.
Probably just a formality at this point.
Yeah. Ace-10 of clubs three-handed is just monstrous, especially when you're looking at about 19 big blinds pre-flop.
Huang's used all of his time bank cards. He's got to make a decision quickly.
It's just taking a moment.
He decides to
He
call.
does make the call.
Katzenberger is at risk, and it's domination nation. Ace-10 against ace-deuce.
Once again, he joins his rail.
I think Huang's left the table.
Sweat the board.
Where's that lucky pillow?
There is a 68% chance that we lose Victor Katzenberger here and go heads up in the EPT Monte Carlo main event.
This is what happens when stacks get shallow. The hands play themselves. Look at them, they're hanging together. You guys could have done that at the table.
Let's run it. And what a flop!
Oh, man.
Wow, and the sweats.
Deuce, deuce, 7 with 2 clubs. Trips for Katzenberger.
Sick.
The flush draw for Huang. 7 on the turn gives
Oh, and that's it.
Katzenberger a full house. There is a 5% chance of a chop. 7 on the river, yes!
Oh my God!
It is always coming 7. It gives us a chop pot. And you know what they say. Everyone loves a chop pot. Crazy stuff.
Sweet, sassy molassie.
Chop it up. And it is indeed always coming 7.
Well, now I have seen everything.
7! Every time the 7 is coming.
That time it was worth it.
Round to Loeser in the small blind with 7-4 off. He completes. King 5 for Huang. Checks his option. Well, that's going to give us a flop. Ace, Jack, 6. Nothing doing. King high still the best hand.
I didn't actually.
Oh, sorry.
I think Huang may have checked out of turn there.
I think that's definitely usually the sign to go ahead and bet flop here when you've got 7 high. Given the fact that he hasn't raised pre-flop here from position, I think you can bet this flop pretty frequently and you're going to get a lot of folds. I'm wondering if Huang decides that he wants to defend the King 5 because he feels like he's being exploited as a result of his check out of turn.
Well, after calling with the king high on the flop, he pairs his 5 on the turn. Interesting card because it gives Loeser an open-ended straight draw.
Definitely going to see a second barrel here.
$850,000 into 1.25 million.
Oh, looks like he's...
And Huang, with bottom pair, makes the call.
Very confident call.
His hand going to the river. Loeser looking for a 3 or an 8. It's a 3. That's his straight.
So there's just under 3 million in the pot now. I think you want to bet a size where you're going to get calls from jacks and 6s. The ace is probably a card that you're not going to see in Huang's check back range here too often.
$2 million.
A bet of 2 million, 2/3 pot. And is there any chance that Huang heroes here with just a pair of 5s?
I mean, he looked pretty confident with his call on the turn. And if his read is that king high was winning on the flop and then the 5 was winning on the turn, the 3 of clubs doesn't change a whole lot. Unless, of course, your opponent has 7-4 off.
Falling.
Oh my word, he's turned his hand into a bluff.
Wow.
He moves all in, and Loeser's in a world of hurt. Yes, he's got the straight, but he's looking at a board that has 3 clubs on it.
Oh my gosh, this is... I mean, he's holding the king of clubs, so he's using the king of clubs as a blocker. This makes a lot of sense too, because he could have Jack X with the flush draw, where he would flat the flop and then flat the turn. You know, Jack 4 of clubs or Jack 10 of clubs or whatever. I'm not sure at this stack depth you can be folding a straight though.
Sure you do.
Well, Loeser has played a time bank card, wants to think about this one very carefully. His hand's so strong, is there any chance that he folds it?
Could be a bluff.
Another time bank card.
It's just a situation where Jack X with 2 clubs, with the Jack of clubs, makes a lot of sense. I just don't know how you can fold it after that action.
Tell you what, Nick, the longer he thinks about this, the more he's likely to fold.
I think you're right.
He's asked Huang, is it a flush? It could be a bluff, trying to get some kind of read, trying to get some kind of information, and now he's asked for the count. And the clock has been paused. And we know Loeser is sitting there with the straight, and if he makes this call, he will eliminate Wei Huang in 3rd place.
I mean, the other consideration is there was that...
He's folded it!
He's made the fold.
He lays down the straight. And that will see Wei Huang move up to 11.5 million. He now has the slight chip advantage over Loeser.
Wow, what a play. What a play.
So the players have discussed and agreed a 3-way deal, redistributing the advertised payouts. Manig Loeser's locked up nearly 526,529, just shy of 530K for Victor Katzenberger. Wei Huang, 552,000, and they are playing for an additional 78K plus the EPT trophy. And we've reached hand 240.
We did it. We did it, James.
We've reached the point where they've played as many hands as Jack Salter and Antonio Buonanno played heads up 5 years ago.
Yeah, all of us tired.
There was no deal. that time around.
I think you look great.
If I remember, those deal discussions ended with a hearty FU. Let's play. More or less. Pocket threes for Loeser. Raises. Huang folds the 4 deuce. Katzenberger, ace jack of clubs. It's the first 2 real hands we've seen matched up for a while.
Katzenberger re-raising to 1.9 million.
I think the threes are just a shove now.
You heard Nick Walsh.
Come on, boys, gears a flip. Shove with the threes. And a call with the ace jack, and we are off to the races. So Manic Loeser is the at-risk player here with the small pocket pair. Katzenberger with the overcards. If Katzenberger loses this race, he'll be left with 3 big blinds. If Manic Loeser loses, he's out.
Like Hearthstone versus Magic the Gathering, one of these 2 hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Ten, deuce, deuce.
And if the board's going to pair, you want it to be deuces.
Katzenberger looking for an ace or a jack. Picks up additional outs on the turn. Jacks, kings, and aces. Working for the Hungarian. River is an 8. Threes hold. Manic Loeser gets the double up and retakes the chip lead. Now playing a stack of 16 million. And Victor Katzenberger will be left with just over $1 million, a 3 big blind stack.
Oh boy.
What a hand to have. In a situation where your opponent's pretty much forced all in with any 2. Just a call from Huang. Katzenberger with ace-8 goes for it.
How unlucky is that? Loeser just gets to be like, nah. Although he is asking for a count. He's closing. No, he's not closing the action.
So with Manic Loeser getting out of the way, Huang makes the call, and it's domination nation. Katzenberger at risk and behind. If ace-king holds, we're going heads up here in Monte Carlo. 5, 6, 4. Katzenberger's outs are 8s and 7s. What's it always coming?
It is always coming 7.
Well, not on the turn.
Did you just set me up to be wrong about that?
Katzenberger has 6 outs. He needs to hit on the river. He does not, and we're down to 2. Victor Katzenberger from Hungary is our 3rd place finisher.
You can see the pain on his face. It's taking a lot for him right now to be gracious. But he is sucking it up. And luckily, he's got over €500,000 to mop up his tears. Well, both flares have plopped a pair. Shut up, you know what I meant. Pair of 6s for Loeser, pair of deuces for Huang.
Oh, with all the deal stuff going on and the excitement of getting heads up, we forgot to ask Victor about our business proposition. He's meant to provide the seed money for Katzenbergers.
He's got it now. Maybe right after wasn't the best time, though. He seemed a little bummed out.
Has Victor... What do you mean he's on a plane? Oh. Well, it's another great business idea that's never going to become a reality. Wasn't said with a great deal of confidence, was it?
Well, said with a guy like the confidence of a guy that has 7 deuce. Two pair now for both players.
That's a really nice river for the 6. I think he knows he's going to have the best hand here the vast majority of the time, and also a great opportunity to get called by other 6s that you have outkicked with your queen.
Check, check. Loeser pulls ahead even more.
The repeated 10 is not good. What was it? The repeated 10 on the river.
You must be a Spraggy fan. Only person I know that says repeat 10s is Spraggy.
Yeah, I know. But
Spraggy, big in China. Who knew?
Spraggy's big anywhere. He's like 6'4".
He is very tall. I think most people are quite shocked the first time they meet him.
Sure, not because he's tall, though.
Loeser raising, king 6 suited.
For a moment there, I thought Huang had actually fallen asleep.
No, that's me.
Can you imagine if you literally passed out at the poker table?
You obviously weren't watching the stream I did from Estonia. I was really glad at the time that you weren't watching it, actually.
Queen 6-4.
This is definitely a more interesting flop.
Yeah, it
both
is.
players picking up a pretty significant piece of this flop. I mean, heads up, having second pair here with a king is a pretty strong holding.
Get that flag back up.
Huang with the lead here.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Do you think it's important to mix up your play, to not to have this every once in a while to fire out?
Yeah, absolutely.
With your strong hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So we call this play a donk bet, but that's not to suggest that the player making the bet is a donk. It was just a reference to an unusual play that most people didn't have. For the most part, you would always check to the aggressor. But yeah, if you've got to have some, value here if you're gonna have a donk bet range. And I think I really like the lead with the queen 3 here. But because your kicker isn't so strong, it does become a little bit more difficult to play on later streets.
You still have to worry about kickers heads up?
No. Oh, and what a beautiful payoff card now. I think Huang just has to go super big here. He's going to get called by all kinds of stuff at this point. I mean, this is a min-raise pot, so Manig is going to have, pocket pairs lower than a queen, etc. And, of course, some 6s and some ace-highs that might want to call. Although I think most of his ace-highs probably wouldn't have made it to this point. A bet of 2.2.
strong. Really strong hand too.
Yeah, I mean, folding king 6 here is... it's going to be a tough one. But if there's anybody that can do it,
I call.
There's the call.
nice, very good. Well played, Queen 3. Such a great river to get paid.
Well, that changes the dynamic, because they're practically even once again. 13.95 million against 13.67 million. Just over 30 big blinds each. And remember, the blinds go up in 14 minutes' time.
Huang limping in with king 4. Loeser, ace 10. An absolute monster heads up.
It is indeed.
Post Malone Ray, last 2 commentators get to fly home first class.
I call.
There literally is no such thing as first class on short haul flight between Nice and London.
I really love for Huang to have a cool kind of limp call range here. I think king 4 off is probably not the best hand that you want to be limp calling with, because you're going to be dominated really frequently in an isolated pot. And obviously, having that 4 when your opponent can have overpairs quite easily as well, it's always quite tricky to play.
I do really appreciate how many different scenarios you think about when you're analyzing these hands. It's not really something that comes to mind for me, and I'm going to assume for the average player either. Huang does, in fact, make a pair on the turn.
Yeah, I really like this line from Manig. I mean, he's confident he has the best hand. Obviously, on the turn, he gets a little bit unlucky here, but also on the turn, because he has the ace of clubs, it's kind of even less incentive to start betting on the turn, because for the most part, you feel like you're trying to protect from clubs. But when you have the ace of clubs in your hand, it does slightly reduce the likelihood your opponent is actually going to have that flush draw that you're trying to get value from on the turn. So you only really serve to value bet yourself a lot of the time. And I think probably a 4 should go for a value bet here. But we'll see if Huang can find it.
We're incredibly likely to see a flip-flop in the chip lead on this hand.
I mean, I think Manig's hand is basically face up at this point. It's going to be a lot of ace highs, and this is a texture where you can. There you go. There's the bet. And ace 10 is always going to be a call on the river for that price, I think.
1 million. Loeser does call, and that will see a change in chip lead.
Wei Huang now playing 16.28 million to Manig Loeser's 11.35 million. I mean, the key thing to say about today, yes, it's been long and we're all feeling it, but we have seen some incredible hands.
We really have.
Hands that will definitely stand the test of time and will end up in compilations and end up going viral, end up being reanalyzed by other pros as part of their video podcasts or training sites.
Absolutely. I mean, that 10 high call that we saw a little bit earlier on was just, I mean, it's awesome. And it's a situation, it's definitely a spot that you could analyze and you could talk about it a lot, and you can really drill down into the reasons why you need to be calling in those situations with 10 high sometimes, and how to, It's basically a perfect example of how you can cap people's ranges based on their actions pre-flop.
8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Loeser has a straight. Huang has an open-ended straight draw that is no good.
Ooh, tough spots.
Yeah. Loeser raised it pre to $1 million. He's continued flop for 1.1 million. Sorry, delayed continuation bet on the turn. It went check, check on the flop. And look at this. Huang's calling. Board pairs on the river. Oh, is Huang going to try and take Loeser off a straight again? That was one of my favorite hands of the day.
Yeah, I was about to say, this reminds me of another hand that we played a little bit earlier, where he used the king of clubs as a blocker to turn his hand into a bluff and managed to get Manig to fold his made straights.
I think my personal favorite, though, is going to be the deuce, deuce, 7 flop, 7 turn, 7 river. Chop pot and always coming 7. Double meme action.
I've got a friend in the next room who's been watching the stream. He said that was his favorite hand as well.
All in.
Well, Huang decided to check the river. Loeser takes the guessing out of it, moves all in, a huge overbet. And is Huang considering calling here with king high? Remember, he's got no time bank cards left, so he's got 10 seconds.
This overbet for me is just so spot on, an amazing play. And I think for a lot of people watching, they might go, "Oh, why? You know, he's got a straight. Why is he betting so big? Why is he trying to get? Well, you know, why is he putting so much pressure on him? Surely you want to go smaller to try and get more calls." But in this situation, right, he's probably not going to call a bet of any size if he has a pair lower than a 9. If he has a 9, he's gonna probably struggle to get away from it quite often. If he has a queen, he can still call as well. So he's basically just saying, if I bet small, I'm probably not going to get called by a significant part of his range. But there is a pretty significant part of his range that contains a 9 or maybe a queen that can still call the shove.
A reminder that Huang had more chips when the deal was struck, so he's locked up 552,000 euros. Loeser guaranteed nearly 528,000 euros, an additional 78k to the champion. They'll also get to lift that beautiful skyscraper trophy.
I would be really surprised to see Manig fold here. I think king high on this kind of a board is pretty monstrous. The 4 doesn't change anything. Let's see if Huang has a second bullet in him. So hard to put in a second bullet in these situations. This is another one of those textures that I was talking about earlier where you can put in the first bet because the board is dry, sure, but it's so hard to continue on turns, especially when your opponent can have all the 6s. There's no reason why he shouldn't have any 6s in this situation. He's got pretty much 100% of his range. This was a limp spot, correct?
750.
It was indeed.
Okay, yeah.
I call. Yeah, you're good. What do you have?
Very good.
Nice try, Huang.
King high call.
But Loeser makes the correct call with king high.
Nice call.
And that's significant. It's no longer level pegging now. Loeser on 15.9 million. Huang, 11.73 million.
And in order to combat that, you have to have a really good understanding of how your opponent is playing. It's a really difficult transition to make. Oh.
Huang announces a raise to 1.2 million.
It's a very difficult transition to make if you're not confident in your heads-up ranges. This is always a call with Queen 8.
Yeah, Loeser calling with the Queen 8, a dominated hand. And we go to the flop. Jack 9-5. King high still the best hand. Check, check. 10 on the turn. That's the straight for Loeser.
Wow, what a turn.
Huang with the straight draw.
So you do have the straight,
1.4.
but you are blocking, well, for that reason, of course, you're blocking the straight draws, but you don't have any clubs in your hands, which I think is a great reason to just go ahead and bet nice and big here. You're going to get called by loads of 9s, loads of 10s, loads of jacks, any remaining queens, probably not too many 8s, and of course those clubs as well are always going to call.
Did you hear that? All in and a call. Loeser led the turn for 1.4 million. Huang shoves for his last 8 million. Loeser snap calls with the straight.
Queen, 2 outs.
Wow.
And Huang needs a queen on the river. He's only got 3 outs. He's only got 7%. We're about to crown a champion here in Monte Carlo. There is a 93% chance that Manic Loeser will take down the PokerStars and Monte Carlo Casino EPT. Can he spike a 3-outer on the river?
This could be it, James.
Yes!
It's an ace on the river and it's over. After 15 hours, Manic Loeser takes down the Monte Carlo main event. China denied its first win on the European Poker Tour, just like his friend, Huang. Huang will have to settle for a second place finish.
Yeah. 2 times.
Wow.
2 times we lost.
Yeah.
2 times.
What a spot to turn a straight.
Block, you know, the king. And
Absolutely fantastic spot.
Yeah.
So many results for Manic Loeser. $10 million in live cashes, and now he is an EPT champion. EPT Monte Carlo. Nick Walsh, thank you so much for sticking it out to the end. We really appreciate it.
Hey, man, it was my pleasure. Anytime.
And here's how it finished. Remember, there was a deal. 3-way. Victor Katzenberger locked up 529,707 euros. Huang, 552K. Manic Loeser gets the additional 78K for the win, and he is an EPT champion. 603,777 euros. So that was 2019, the last time we ran this event. Fast forward to 2022, we are back on the Riviera for the PokerStars European Poker Tour presented by Monte Carlo Casino. Now, this year's main event final table has not lost a player yet. We are coming back from dinner with 6 players. And I think it's fair to say that most of them don't have any chips.
Danger zone!
Indeed, either in it or approaching it. Marcelo Simoes, 81 bigs, monster chip leader. Everyone else, short, especially Trofimov and Cervantes, the last remaining qualifier. 6 bigs, 5 bigs respectively, because we are now playing the 100,000, 200,000 blind level with a 200K big blind ante. I'm James Huskin, he's Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies.
Griffin Bench is in the house.
Hello, my nieces and nephews.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because we're like brothers, and then they're their uncle. Yeah.
Is it bad I didn't remember that Manic Loeser win at all?
You weren't there for it, dude.
Oh, my God.
That's literally the first time you've seen that hand.
It is the first time I've seen that hand.
Big hand, straight.
Yeah, and actually on that point, Joe, you will remember that that final table went into the very early hours of the morning. Now, clearly the tournament staff are trying to conclude the action here in Monaco as early as they possibly can. We are trying to make some adjustments to the blind levels. There was a bigger field here in Monte Carlo than we were expecting. There's more chips in play than anticipated. So I think we're going to be going to 60-minute levels next.
Can I amend that statement of it's not as early as they possibly can, it's not as late as it possibly can be?
I think that's a good line. By the way, prize money still up for grabs, 167K to the first player out of this final table, more than $500,000 to the runner-up. Near enough $1 million, just shy of 940,000 to the winner. And yes, I think the next session is going to be 2 back-to-back 60-minute levels, and that is being explained to the players right now. This is not being driven by us. This is not a TV/streaming thing. It's very much about making sure that we are able to shut down the operation here in Monaco at a reasonable hour and get these guys out the door at a reasonable hour. No one wants to be playing until 5 in the morning. And as I said, it's been created by a nice situation. We had a huge field here, a much bigger field than anticipated, and we have to accommodate more levels, more play in very few days. That's why we've been playing till midnight every day.
You should be able to book a flight for 7 a.m. the day after the tournament's supposed to end and be safe.
So, of course, these 6 guys looking to follow in the footsteps of previous Monte Carlo champions. The original winner, Rob Hollink, back in 2005. North American dominance, Jeff Williams, Gavin Griffin, Glenn Shawnee. Then we have Peter DeCorva win in 2009. Nicolas Schweiti become the first Lebanese champion in 2010. Mohsen Charania, we saw his win earlier on during one of the breaks against Lucille Kai. That was here in 2012. And then in recent years, we had Steve O'Dwyer on one of the toughest final tables of all time, emerged victorious in 2013. That epic heads-up battle between Buonanno and Salter in 2014. Mateos becoming the first ever Spanish winner on the tour. And as you just referenced, Joe, we did see Manik Loeser lift the trophy in 2019. And this is the first time in 3 years that we've been in Monaco.
It's going to be weird in like 2027 when we look at things and it goes 2019, 2022. Like everyone's just going to know for everything, right? For so many sports, for so many events. Oh, right. Those were the years that nothing happened.
So I think we are about to get play restarted. The players just taking their seats, returning from their dinner break. Joe, you missed out on the random meat-fish combination this evening.
Oh, what was it?
Well, I can say with 100% certainty the fish was cod. A debate still rages about the meat.
In cod we trust.
We were told by one member of the team that it was a lamb shank.
Okay.
It felt like poultry to me, and yet the restaurant staff said it was ham.
Okay, so those are 3 very conflicting things. Sometimes you'd be a confusion between like lamb and beef, right, or chicken and pork. But for it to be lamb to chicken to pork is weird.
I think it was some kind of bird, either chicken or turkey, but I'm not 100% sure.
But they said it was ham. No?
What they said and what they put on your plate are 2 different things.
I figured it out. Man, bear, pig.
So here we go, 100K, 200K blinds, 200K big blind ante, clock's running, cards have been dealt.
All in.
And we do have an all-in here. Pingray shoving with King 10, and Trofimov folds. Griffin, how close are we to a situation where Marcelo Simoes just starts shoving on the rest of the table?
We joked about.
I mean, yeah, it's getting to that area. Anything under 30 big blinds, I think you can justify it because you put on an immense pressure on Hvam and Cervantes.
No, joking, but like
and Pingray. It's great. I would love to see it. Definitely some incentive to do it.
I feel like this tournament, now I know it's going to sound crazy, could end at any second.
I knew.
It feels like the hose has been kinked.
Yeah.
All the pressure's building up. It can't sustain itself for that long, and depending on how the short stacks shake out, this could be over relatively quickly. It could just be the unkinking of the hose and psh.
Yeah, we had that the weather metaphor earlier, talking about the calm before the storm and then the clouds. There's some lightning strikes, and there may be a full-fledged tornado in the next hour.
All right.
For the one that can afford it.
Trofimov all in with ace-3 from the small blind.
Please.
9-6 of hearts for Simoes in the big blind.
Yeah, I mean, got to call 4 or 5 big blinds here.
Nope. Griffin, if there's one thing this final table has taught me, it's expect the unexpected. Let's allow Maria Ho to be a part of this craziness. Maria, can you believe that we have been playing for, okay, we've had a few breaks, but let's take out the dinner break, let's say 6 hours. We've had 6 hours of play, and yet we still have all 6 players.
I mean, I come on for the late shift, and I was like, all right, I'll probably jump in when we're heads up, maybe 3-handed, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we've already played a hand right away where it just seems like an obvious shove call. Let's run the card, 60-40, and, you know, a big old thumbs up from the chip leader, like, yeah, you know what? I like you.
Think about it.
Let's keep you around. So I don't know what to expect anymore. You know, of course, there is the strategy as a chip leader in situations similar to this where, you know, you don't necessarily want to call off too light against players that maybe you otherwise would call because it's good to keep them in the tournament because you put so much ICM pressure in other hands to the big stacks. But
I forgot about that. I'm like, it's 5 big blinds, call it anything.
5 big blinds, and you have a hand that can run pretty well.
1 million.
So now it's Trofimov all in with King 10. Simoes is called with Ace 6. And here we go.
I know, it's fine, it's fine. Cheers.
You know, not a massively consequential pot, but you can still see the excitement on the rail, like they're all in for his tournament life for Simoes.
I mean, it's consequential for a ladder.
Yeah, with your 16 million.
They're a passionate people.
Yeah.
No more fucking around.
Turns the king.
Hold.
Trofimov, a big favorite to survive.
Saying hold like it's 2004.
Kings and 10s and 7s.
Back to 10 bigs.
So we've not seen many all-ins today.
There was the 9s versus
Ace King. There must have been something while I was on break.
Nope.
Wow.
And there was...
Maybe I should have opened.
That's literally it.
I would have to call off.
It's the second all-in and call. The first double up or and no bust outs.
So I started with 4.
That's got to be a record that it took that long for there to be all-in and call and for someone to win the pot outright. 7 hours.
You can have folds too. It's no problem. How much do you have? Oh, like 6. 5. 5? 6. Yeah. 5. 7.
Erkin.
Yeah, this
Cervantes.
got to be it for the 5 bigs.
Oh, under the gun too. It's never getting through, right?
Oh, I mean, it's almost certainly not getting through. Sorry, Maria, go ahead. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have much fold equity at all. And of course, you know, considering he's in first position, there's going to be more people waking up behind him with potentially bigger hands, hands that they will be able to call with. But yeah, you know, he's really got no choice at this point.
Oh, apparently he does. It's all a cosmic joke against us. Just when you think there's going to be an all-in.
Please.
There it is. They're trying.
Chips entering pots. That's a good start.
Just a few.
And we're going to see a flop. And that flop is ace, queen, 10. Second pair for the chip leader.
Cervantes not really incentivized to fight too hard right now for pots. But if we get a really small bet from Simoes here, which it appears that may be, yeah, just 1/5 pot. You know, you get the backdoor nut draw, very easy call, but won't be too sticky on further streets unless the turn is that Jack Gin card or another diamond.
Yeah, definitely not the time as Cervantes to get aggressive with draws. Wow, but what is you guys?
That's a prank, man. They're messing with us.
Just peel. It's okay.
It's, yeah, 2 big blinds there.
We're going to need you to make like a Jordan and peel.
I mean, your opponent could just have 7-6 off there and just c-betting, you know? Like, king could come and he could check down, which he would with the queen.
So just to clarify, Marcelo Simoes isn't just the chip leader. He is the only guy who has a playable stack. 76 big blinds, looking to become the first ever Brazilian EPT champion. And right now, you've got to say he's a strong odds-on favorite.
And the thing is, you, of course, expect the person with a massive chip lead to stay really aggressive, to keep the pressure on, and to make it very tough for their opponents to play pots against them. But I don't know, it kind of feels like that's a little different than just handing it to the guy on a silver platter a little bit. You have to contend with some equity, and again, no one's saying you got to go for, you know, some crazy check raise scenarios. Just, you know, call once, see another card. You never know.
Yes. Sorry, can I just point out before we all forget that Simoes folded the ace under the gun there, and it came ace high. Just saying. You know, and now has 40% of his stack in just between the blinds and antes.
Okay, so Cervantes all in with ace deuce. Marcelo's got 5-3. And look at the percentages. Ace deuce, only a 54% favorite.
That has to be, does it include some folded cards or something? That's really close. That seems really close, right?
I'm calling it a flip.
I need to play more 5-3s.
I was going to say.
Poker's best kept secret.
Here comes the flop. A 5 and a 3.
Wait.
Follow.
Yeah, don't over-celebrate because Cervantes has the wheel draw and a 4 would give him the straight.
I want a deuce, queen, or an ace for the sweat.
We got a sweat. The case ace, a queen, a 4, or a deuce will save Cervantes. River card is a jack, and we have our first elimination. And it is Erkan Cervantes, the German qualifier, who won his seat for 530 euros. He's cashing out for 167K and more chips for the Brazilian chip leader. Marcelo Simoes moves over the 80 big blind mark.
You know, I understand everyone's excited, but something doesn't entirely sit right with me when a 5 big blind stack gets eliminated in 6 and you have 20 million chips and they're singing a song. You know, but I get it. Everyone is so excited to be at this moment. It's something.
Look, we talked about it earlier on, Griffin, and I love the passion of Latin American poker players, and I love the fact that for the Brazilians, this will mean a lot. This is a prestigious poker tour. It's a prestigious series of tournaments. They've never won a title on the EPT, and this will mean so much to the entire Brazilian poker community.
You're right, absolutely.
I mean, Maria, when you consider how much success Brazil has had in poker in recent years, does it surprise you that we've never had a winner on the EPT from that country?
Yeah, especially since there's definitely a lot of good, well-known Brazilian pros as well that, you know, play a lot of these events. So it is surprising, but you know that they have kind of a reputation for being very aggressive, and I feel like Simoes is following suit for sure.
Well, that was raise and take it for Simoes, who's now got close to 17 million chips. The second biggest stack, 5.4 million. I mean, you can sense the anticipation. You can sense the excitement. Got to be careful. There's that classic kissing the trophy syndrome where if you start getting too overconfident, if you start thinking it's in the bag when it isn't, it could all go to pieces.
Well, you can tell that the gravity of the moment is not lost on Marcelo Simoes. And that's also reflected in how much even winning these small all-ins mean to him and, you know, by extension, his rail and the whole country behind him. So, you know, it's definite vibes right now.
Raising with Jack-9 under the gun.
You know, you wonder if the strategy adjusting here a bit for Simoes with this big chip lead. We saw some sort of tighter laydowns in early position, even when he was still one of the chip leaders, but now just with this massive lead, so much ICM pressure, I'm sure, you know, some of his supporters, too, some poker players, maybe speaking to him on break, like really ramp it up now. And we could potentially see another all-in here. I mean, listen, Trofimov is only starting this hand with 12 big blinds, a stack-to-pot ratio of just 2-to-1. If Simoes goes for a continuation bet, and instead Trofimov going to lead, and I think Simoes might play this as aggressively as possible, and does with the open straight draw.
Yep. A bet of 250,000, and now it is all into call, and he folds. And I think Simoes is going to start to get the message. I think he's going to realize the power that he can wield at this table, how he can leverage this stack and make everyone else's life a misery. The ICM handcuffs are on.
It turns out other countries are sending us their best people. This guy's crushing the BSOP, shows up in Europe, and crushes the final table. Took him a minute, but he's crushing.
That is absolutely a fine point to make, Joe. He is currently second in the BSOP Player of the Year rankings on only his second trip to Europe. A seasoned life player, but not a poker pro. He is a 55-year-old entrepreneur from Rio de Janeiro.
I folded a pair. I really did.
No, I was saying he's like that.
And you can see the slightly frustrated fold of Queen Jack suited under the gun of Hvam, something that he was so happy to play from any position, and often even much worse than that. But in this situation, you know, you're in second in chips, you really want to stay there. So doesn't want to necessarily raise even the big blind, and then any decent shoving hand behind, you know, you can't call. So I understand it.
Well, that was a walk for the chip leader.
32.
I don't know about you guys, but I am shocked, absolutely shocked at how many people watching online right now would have won this tournament if they had entered it. There is a lot of commentary happening about how bad everyone is playing.
But did we expect anything less on Chat Pro Saturday, though?
Yes.
feel like
Oh, just so you're aware,
In fairness,
Maria,
they're supposed to have more power.
just so you're aware,
today.
Maria, I actually vetoed that today. It's not a thing.
Did you veto it because we've been playing for so long with so many players
No,
left and how the
no.
play has gone, or prior to seeing that?
Specifically because it's the final table of an EPT main event, and it's too darn important to let the internet go to town. And here we go. Ace deuce in the small blind, shoves on Morton Hvam, who's got ace queen. What are you doing here? So just to put it into perspective, Hvam is the second biggest stack with 25 bigs. The other three players, 17, 16, 10 big blinds. He has to fold?
Yes.
Oh, how horrible. How horrible.
You just have to fold. You can't risk losing there. You really can only call, I think, probably queens plus there. Maybe jacks plus, but even jacks are just like, ugh. Get up against king, queen, you're like, oh.
I mean, I'm going to assume the people who are dismissing that as the worst fold ever aren't aware of the huge jumps in prize money between 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st.
Yeah, and guys, it doesn't matter that Simoes had ace deuce. Doesn't always have ace deuce. Sometimes he just has 9-7 off, and you know you're only 62 or whatever % to win. When like if you just chill out, you can ladder up to 3rd place and make what, an extra 150, 200,000 euros.
Is he going to do it again?
Come on now. Come on now. Hey, there it is.
Yeah, once you realize how tight, you know, all the middling stacks have to be in order to call off against you, it's basically open season.
Cervantes is tickled by the fact that Simoes has finally figured this out.
Well, he's closing in on 19 million chips. He's got close to 100 big blinds. He's got close to a 4-to-1 chip advantage on Morton Hvam, who sits in 2nd place.
What? Ace? Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big ace.
I had ace just now too.
Big ace.
And you guys are folding.
Interesting to be telling him how tight they're prepared to fold. It seems like
it's kind of like when Neo realizes that he can do kung fu, and he just like punches a guy across the room, and he's like looks at his hands, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, except in this metaphor, his hands are talking. Be like, "Yeah, good job, keep it up. Like you're doing the right thing."
King 9 in the cutoff, and the same MO, all in, shoves on the rest of the table. Ace King for Pingray.
So many chips though. He's got 15 whole big blinds.
I mean,
should this be a call?
Maria, you take this one.
I mean, I've seen, let me put it this way, I've seen people do it before.
Yeah, I think the chips are too close. I think you have to call because there's just not a big enough discrepancy between your stack and 4th and 5th. Like he has 15 bigs, they have 14 and 10. I mean, ace king here, you can be completely dominating him. He's going to shove any ace, almost any king. I think you're supposed to call this time.
Well, the good news for Hugo Pingray is that it is domination nation. Ace king against king 9. He is a 3-to-1 favorite to double up through the chip leader.
Sem comemorar, deixa bater e vamos ficar quietinho.
Just verifying Pingray's stack.
The French commentators in the other room very excited about this.
Well, Pingray is the last remaining French player.
And a domination situation. It's hard to get it in much better than this.
Especially at this stage to get this dominated situation. Going to vault you to second in chips, slipping ahead of Morten Hvam.
Still 5 cards to come. If we see some sickness, if Simoes continues to run golden, we might lose Hugo Pingray. Here comes the flop. King, Jack 5. So far, so good. Ace, King holding.
Every card that's not a 9 is a good card.
Pingray now near enough a 9-1 favorite to double up. 9 on the turn!
Oh my goodness.
I feel responsible. He's so good.
Unless there's an ace or a jack on the river, we are going to lose Hugo Pingray, and the Brazilian rail is going to go wild.
RIP ears.
King 9 cracks ace king, and we lose Hugo Pingray in 5th place.
You know what's the saddest part about this?
Go shake the hand of the man you just defeated.
Oh, gotta feel for Pingray.
The saddest part about this is I never got to say off to the ping races.
228,460 euros for Hugo Pingray. We are down to 4 now, and we have the Brazilian chip leader with 111 big blinds, Morten Hvam with 24 bigs, Jaime Cervantes with 14 bigs, Dragos Trofimov with 8 bigs.
It was a pleasure watching Hugo play, man. Really fun.
5th place, it's like 1 watch.
A tale of 2 rails.
Very French ending.
Yeah, dramatic.
Sad.
Trail.
Well, this was inevitable. Something had to give after playing so long.
1.7 behind.
Without a bust out. Now the dominoes are falling.
The kink has been unkunked.
I think I'm going to take credit for it. I feel like I came in here, changed the energy up. Now the chips are flying. Bust outs are happening.
Yeah,
we
no,
don't
of course.
need
No, you've been here
stakes in
for
his
5 whole
crank
minutes.
machine.
You should get credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's totally me, guys.
And Simoes not changing his MO. All in, under the gun, everyone folds.
I mean, why would you? It's arguably even better at this stage, right? I mean, you look at the chip stacks. What's Morten Hvam going to be able to call? And, you know, you're only risking 14 big blinds with the total with the other players. So it's, yeah, I think it's going to be, this is going to be the new normal for us. And frankly, I think it's great. It's a nice change of pace, James.
I'm loving it. By the way,
at some point, it's like
Morten Hvam has laddered up.
Calling aces only.
Everyone has laddered up. Everyone's earned themselves the better part of 300k now. 298,710 euros. That's the next payout.
You know, if this was a movie script, you know, you're sitting there just like, yeah, you know, it's a great story all the way through, but we just need to spice things up into the 3rd act. Why don't we just have the Brazilian guy go all in every hand? That's pretty exciting to me.
He would have had to get a motivational speech during the dinner break.
Yeah.
Gets a walk in the big blinds. Has near enough 23 million chips right now.
Out of a total of 28 million chips.
Wow, really looking at that leaderboard, it's jarring, the difference. Almost 3x of the entire rest of the field.
1.6.
1.6?
Not gonna lie, I kind of want to knock over the tower.
Yeah,
It's real tempting. You look at that thing.
Ace Jack for Jaime Cervantes.
Can you be the shover? Or do you only have to fold to aggressive action from Simoes?
No, I think you can shove here for sure. Min raising is very dangerous because I think Marcelo can just shove anything.
Was that $1 million he said?
He said $1 million.
Vamos. Vamos.
Oh, wow, he's not going to get shoved on.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Well,
Scratch that. He's going to get shoved on, but it's the other player who's going to do it.
How much you had? 3?
2.8.
I didn't realize anyone else was even allowed to be all in against each other. I thought Marcelo had to be leading the charge.
Here we go, all in and a call, and we are off to the races. Classic race underway at the final table. Ace-Jack versus nines. It is Hvam Cervantes from the USA who has the overcards. He is the at-risk player. He needs to hit to survive.
Like a private yacht versus a private jet. One of these two things has a slight mathematical advantage.
I like that, very Monte Carlo on theme. It's the plane, right? Like, who knows?
Oh.
King 8-4 on the flop. Nines holding.
Couple of spades, though.
Looking too good for Cervantes, though. Equity drops to 26%. Immediate outs, aces and jacks. Turn card is the king of clubs. Takes away the spade draw. 5 cards save him. Needs an ace or a jack. And we have our 4th place finisher. Hvam Cervantes from the USA cashes for €298,710, and we are down to 3. Great laddering by Dragos Trofimov.
6 big blinds. So we went 7 hours with 6 players and then 6 minutes with 3 bust outs. Is that about right?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I think Cervantes should be very proud of his performance. Big smile on his face. You know, great representative of the USA coming out here, being the lone representative on the table here. Made an incredible call to start the final table with just ace high and really had some of the more exciting hands on the final table, including one against Pingray early on today. So congratulations for the 4th place finish.
A real pleasure to watch.
So Morten Hvam sits in 2nd place with just shy of 40 big blinds. Dragos Trofimov still nursing that 6 big blind stack.
Over under 2 hands on Dragos being eliminated.
Well, I love the fact that Maria was taking all the credit for this action, and everyone on Twitch and YouTube is thanking Maria for bringing these vibes and getting the table to do something.
I mean, I do what I can, and I'm just grateful that Twitch chat recognizes my efforts in this endeavor.
That's a very American attitude for everyone in Europe to do all of the work and then you show up and take credit. Where have I heard that one before?
And you guys, Trofimov is basically all in here right away, and Simoes already has a pair, so we were goofing around there for a second there, and he's basically all in behind.
Well, he's not all in after Simoes shoves on him. He folds flop, leaving himself 5 big blinds, an even stack of $1 million.
I hate to say it because it's so repeated and it's such a cliche, but every final table is so different.
This one is so weird when you consider how handcuffed the action was for 6-7 hours. And look, it was just inevitable with the tournament becoming shallower and the distribution of chips. This was inevitable, but it doesn't make it any less entertaining.
Yeah, if you inject enough time and blinds going up into this bubble, it's eventually going to pop, and we're seeing that happen now.
It really, I mean, I wasn't expecting to be right about the unkinking of the hose, but that's really what happened.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to have a situation where either Trofimov is going to double up or will be KO'd in the next 2 or 3 hands.
Original Dade says, stop crying, Brazil owns poker.
I know his rail certainly has a Brazilian flag somewhere by their feet, just waiting for the time to bring it out.
So blind v blind. Simoes raises from the small, gets called by Hvam in the big. Queen 10 versus 10-7. And it is Hvam who flops best. Domination rotation, pair of 7s. Bet of 300,000 from Marcelo.
Definitely behooves Hvam to just keep the pot small. He probably thinks that he's ahead at this point, but of course, you know, you don't want to be playing a big pot right now, especially with a 5 big blind stack sitting over there. And so that check back, not going to go for thin value at this point, just really want to get to showdown.
Check, check. And Hvam wins a pot.
Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am.
So Morton's now moved over the 40 big blind mark, but still some way behind Marcelo, who's got 113 big blinds. So we have played 136 hands at this final table.
No.
We are finally down to the final 3. And very soon, we could be heads up, unless Dragos Trofimov gets lucky.
Let's go, guys.
I mean, he's effectively forced all in here, right, Griffin?
Showtime.
Yep. Got to go with this one if you're in the big blind.
My goodness.
Oh, look, it's Joe's mom.
Oh, I love that woman.
I think it is so sweet that your mum came to visit you here in Monte Carlo. I think it's even sweeter that she's on the rail watching this final table.
I mean, she showed up at the right point. Hey, maybe it's her that did it, not Maria. Everyone can't wait to get away from her. That's what I did when I moved to California.
Mrs. Stapleton, can we bring you to every EPT from now on?
She texted me to say, I'm still here. They're singing the same song as soccer game. All your coworkers are wonderful.
Bless her. Trofimov all in after we had a button raise from Simoes, flattered by Hvam in the small. Trofimov gets the rest in, called by Simoes, and I guess Hvam calls as well, so we're going 3-way to the flop?
Triple up Trofimov.
Okay.
This was actually quite weird because it was a min raise to 400 on the button, and then a call from the Jack-6, and then effectively reopening the action to 700,000.
Wow.
So,
I mean, there's not much shot Trofimov has ace-jack on there, is there?
Well, Simoes has bet 400,000. Of course, Hvam also has a jack, but has Jack-6 for 2 pair. So we will continue the action with this side pot.
I mean, bless Hvam's soul here. He should not be in this pot. So it's kind of cool that he is. So it'll create this action and make something interesting.
$500,000 apiece, and Trofimov must know this doesn't look good, and even if it is ace-jack, he's screwed.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Could be a flush under there, James.
It could. And of course, Jackson sixes just got counterfeited.
And Hvam really wanting to discourage any bluffs, so tank checking.
Okay, showdown. What's Trofimov got? Not enough.
Essa foi a boca da natureza.
Ace 4.
GG. GG, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Cara, eu só não queria.
Dragos Trofimov eliminated in third
guys.
place.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure.
Eu só torço pra não bater o 9.
Cash is for nearly 400k, and we are going heads up here in Monte Carlo. Marcelo Simoes from Brazil versus Morten Hvam from Denmark.
Time for Trofimov to shuffle off.
Do you want to look at numbers?
And do not count Hvam out at all. It is a huge deficit, but he has played very strong the last few days. I think he's going to probably have maybe a better theoretical understanding of how to play heads up in a situation like this, and is going to be a very tough out.
So it's 25 mil versus 7 mil. It's 125 bigs versus 35 bigs.
I agree with Griffin.
Let me see some numbers.
34 big blinds can do some damage.
And a request there from Morten Hvam to look at the numbers. Any chance they do a deal, Maria?
I don't know. I mean, I think it just depends on if he, I mean, it's so hard when someone has such a big chip lead at this point to necessarily want to do a deal and be incentivized unless they think that there's some big skill disparity where they feel like, you know, or the structure's not good, so it ends up kind of being a crapshoot at this stage. But, I mean, neither one is probably the case, so I don't know.
I don't know what incentive Simoes has.
I mean,
yeah, he would definitely want to ask for more, right, than
more than an even
chip shop.
chip shop, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it would
Which
kind
is
of be
why I
up
don't
to
thi-
Hvam to agree to that.
Yeah, I don't think Hvam would agree to that. I think probably recognizes that going to have a bit of an edge, all things being equal, heads up. So the fact that it's a huge chip deficit, you know, obviously has a lot of work to do, but I don't know, I can't speak for them. We'll have to see what happens.
So just to clarify where things stand as we go heads up at this final table, huge advantage right now for Marcelo Simoes, the 55-year-old entrepreneur from Brazil. Morten Hvam works in the banking industry in Denmark, doesn't play much live poker. Has some work to do to get back into this game. And look, just because they've requested to look at the numbers, just because they've asked, doesn't mean that a deal will get done. And I would bet against it. 40 minutes ago, all these 6 players were still in.
I figured it out, by the way. I had to wait for my mom to leave the room so I could crank it.
Well, let's remind ourselves of what the actual advertised payouts are and the difference in prize money between second and first. More than $500,000, more than 564,000 for the runner-up. Nearly 940,000 euros for the winner. And of course, an EPT title and trophy. Could be the first Danish winner for a decade or the first ever Brazilian European Poker Tour champion.
History could very well be made tonight.
And I wonder now we're heads up, if word spreads that Marcelo has this chip advantage, whether we will see a few more Brazilians on the rail. I'm getting the impression that quite a lot of people have gone home already. This festival very much winding to a close, and obviously people wanting to get back early. We keep saying it, but tomorrow for a lot of the world, Scoop starts.
Yeah. Ela dá pra mim? O português.
English?
Yeah, yeah.
Spanish?
É português. Ou Spanish.
¿Entiendes español?
Entendo, sim.
Sí?
Se habla, não há problema.
Okay. Tienes que esperar aquí por hablar sobre el deal. Okay, aquí en la mesa.
Acá mismo.
Si quieres, tú puedes pedir una
impressive.
persona para ayudarte. Okay?
Para
ayudarte. Pero tienes que esperar aquí. Okay? So I'm just saying that you have to make the deal here at the table. If you want to have somebody come to help you, you can. O puedes llamar a un amigo también.
Eu posso chamar uma tradutora aqui?
Una persona de ahí
Tá.
aquí.
Vem cá,
Solo
vem.
uno.
Vem, amor, vem cá.
See? So, you understand? You can have somebody here to help you if you want to make the deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you can make
One
phone
call, yeah.
So, tienes que jugar para 10%
Ok.
de queda del
Sí.
prize pool. Yeah? So you have to play for 10% of remaining, which I'm going to show you what that is in a moment.
Tem que jogar por 130 mil no mínimo.
And whatever deal is made, we're going to publish. So, for example, you could make a deal, you could take less money, win the money that you have to play for, and still have less money and take the trophy. So we would publish you as the winner with less money.
Okay,
So we
okay.
publish all deals.
So
maybe
the-
you explained that last
So
time.
the
It's a bit
win-
hard for me to explain.
The winner gets the trophy no matter what.
The winner will get the trophy, but could get less money, basically, yeah, depending on what kind of deal that you make.
Cool, he cares about the trophy.
And the last money is the money that
Yeah.
they handled before.
People care about winning an EPT. I keep telling you this. It's not all about the money.
Hell yeah.
Must play for 37,500. 37,520. You must play for this. This is 10% of the
So that's number in red is what they would have to still play for. 37.5 grand plus the title and trophy.
Tem que jogar para isso.
Put the numbers in
We
and
need
then
to
we'll show
play
you. For this amount.
Entendeu? Tem que jogar por esse.
Sim, mas é qual a diferença?
With the rest, you can make what you like, but you must play for this amount.
E aí, o que você acha?
Não, eu sei, mas tem que saber qual o número. Quanto é para ele, quanto é para mim.
How much
Quanto...
for him?
I'm going to put the chip counts in now, and I'm going to show you.
Ah, ok, ela vai colocar e vamos.
Vai.
So step one is to say that however you try and divide the prize pool, 37.5k has to stay in play. You have to play this thing out, and whoever wins gets the extra 37.5 grand. Now we're going to see how their chip stacks convert into real cash
32
money.
milhões, aí vai tirar, eu tenho 27, ele tem 5, ele tem
Yeah, I like this.
15%. Mais ou menos.
Okay, guys, I'm going to show you. Here's your chip counts, confirmed by the floor. This is the amount that you must play for, 37,520, and this is the same. So just pure ICM is the same as chip chop now. It's exactly the same. So pure ICM.
Sei.
Marcello is this much.
So you can see the numbers.
Morton
It would be
this much,
829,436 for
37,520, I think it was.
Marcelo and 637,000 for Morton.
You can change it, but you must play for 37.
I think
It's
I
barely
want to play unless I get
different.
700.
Tô.
Yeah,
Eu sei.
sounds like he did just say.
If we're gonna play, or I should have 700.
So he's asking for 700.
Or otherwise I want to play. Yeah.
Not really in the prime bargaining position, is he?
Yeah, but sounds like that's his final offer, so I don't think
700.
No.
Lois is going to take it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you very much.
So Morton fans wanted
700 não dá.
700,000,
dá
no
pra
deal,
637,
and we are going to play on.
What was the deal number? Was it 637?
638, maybe?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, it was barely better than second place money to begin with, and honestly, Marcelo should be getting more. So I'm not really sure why there would be a deal.
Tem 5 vezes mais.
No one said it was going to be 50-50, Replink. Deals are based on chip stack.
Here or
How
here?
about Goldsnake, who says 10 minutes of wasted time? What are you doing with your life?
So this is mine. This one. Yeah.
So yeah, now we are heads up. The levels will be 45 minutes long. We've still got 22 minutes to play out on level 32. Blind still 100,000, 200,000.
650.
I think you would be hard pressed to find many players that would take that deal for, you know, it appeared to be what, about an extra 80,000. So I understand why Hvam at this stage wants to just go for it. It's not like, you know, he has 12 big blinds to 100 here. He has some chips to work with here. And, you know, we might see them explore the numbers later after a double up or something.
Eu tenho
I mean,
27, ele tem 5.
Love the chutzpah
Para levar 100 mil a
to
mais.
ask for better than a chip chop.
637. É justo.
Are we going to play some poker?
I wonder if his wife was like an ICM expert, and if he was about to say yes, she was going to be like, "Are you nuts? You should be getting more."
So they are playing for the advertised payouts. That's 564 grand to the runner-up, nearly 940,000 euros to the winner as we go heads up in the EPT Monte Carlo 2022 main event. Brazil versus Denmark. Marcelo Simoes versus Morten Hvam. And it'll be interesting to see whether this is over in a few hands or whether Hvam manages the comeback, Maria.
Yeah, I mean, because we haven't seen, you know, the full extent of what maybe Hvam can do, because he was quite handcuffed for a lot of the final table, it will be interesting with that type of playable stack in post-flop situations to see if he's willing to kind of maneuver and perhaps find some spots to outplay Simoes. And I think that, you know, without knowing a lot about Hvam's game, I feel like he's prepared to step it up a notch and, you know, really try to put up a good fight here.
We're dealing cards again. The clock's running. That was anticlimactic.
No hands? No hands.
Darfelder 13 says, Maria is here. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
How do you think we got all this action? It's because Maria.
Exactly.
Maria showed up.
I don't know. There's a lot of people taking credit right now. We've got Maria, we've got Joe's mom, we've got Joe himself.
I'm going to give it up to Joe's mom. I mean, it's definitely Martine. Yeah. She gets all the credit. She gets the credit for birthing Stapes. That probably wasn't an easy birth. I mean, Joe, how long did that take?
Someone credit for
How
that?
long was she in labor?
This is hand 139. Raise from the button with Queen 8. And we have ourselves a queen high flop. I'll tell you what, Morten, if it's going to go like this, it's going to be a short night.
Obviously not the best flop for ace-3, but when you're getting that kind of price, the small bet from Simoes here, you know, could just be betting with air. Some draws.
Just a third pot, though, here. I mean, you're not really able to continue too often with just this ace-x type hand, but, you know, certainly if Simoes' size bigger, then that's going to be a fold as well.
First blood goes to Simoes. Second blood goes to Simoes. Third blood, stay tuned. And we are going heads up to the flop because that's all a flop can be at this point. King high, top pair for Hvam.
Hvam with the tennis shoes. Gets it through. The kicks.
Could also be known as the cereal then. Well, isn't there a cereal like called Kix? Is that just me? Like
Yes.
K-I-X?
K-I-X. In fact, Kix was the most sugary cereal I was allowed to have as a kid.
Oh, yeah?
No Frosted
But
Flakes,
it's like
no
marketed
Fruit
as
Loops.
incredibly healthy though, isn't it?
Yes, but it's not super healthy, but it's the least unhealthy of like ones that don't taste like grape nuts. Simoes raising 6 deuce suited. Hvam defending 6-4 suited. Domination. Ooh. Domination 6, 7, 8, 9. No, it doesn't work. They're both open-ended. Domination, spicy situation we can go with. I'll take it. 9 hertz. Simoes bets. Hvam calls. Turn card is another 8.
I think sometimes I like seeing hands that contain, you know, a straight draw to perhaps lead in this spot. I think that you can pretty easily rep a lot of the 8Xs, especially because, you know, it makes sense that you would perhaps, you know, check call with that type of second pair hand. And then when the board pairs, of course, you know, if you get to showdown with just 6 high, you're not likely to win. So this is a good spot, as you see, for Hvam to lead out and perhaps try to win the pot right here.
Yeah, and targeting this exact hand for Simoes should probably dissuade him from continuing. You can always tell who's going to win a pot at the end of one of these hands because you're either going to hear cheering or dead silence.
Yeah, the Danes are a little bit more stoic.
Yeah, I always say when I make a big final table, I would pay to have either Brazilians or Englishmen on my rail. Like, they would be by far the loudest and most rowdy, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
The Dew says, I enjoy silence. Well, guess what, The Dew? I'm going to do you a solid here. You banned. King, queen for Hvam. Ace, tray for Simoes.
And looking to play it as a 3-bet. And quite a large one. don't really see how Hvam is going to fold. The question really is it going to play as a call for him or a shove? You know, facing normal sizing, I think that you're going to be more inclined to shove here because you have so much fold equity, but maybe Hvam just thinks, okay, I don't know if Simoes is folding based on making it 2 million when I only play about 6.6. But I can't just fold this hand, can I? So a lot of thought process, and I think the real wrinkle is that 4x 3-bet sizing from Simoes.
Looks like Hvam decided on a call, and yeah, absolutely, you can't be folding this hand. I think that would have been the worst option. Certainly very strong, especially in position.
Flop is ace, queen, 7. Top pair for Simoes. A potentially deadly second pair for Hvam. Simoes betting 500,000, aka 0.5 million. Obviously, Hvam can't fold. So let's add another 1 million chips to this pot as we head to the turn.
Yeah, against a 3-bet pre, you know, at this point with the king-queen, you have a bluff catcher, right? If you feel like they were 3-betting their strongest value hands, then of course you are going to be fearful of that ace. But if they're 3-betting a lot of, you know, bluffs in this particular spot, then you've got to be ahead of those with second pair. But at this point, being checked to on the turn, I think that you can just exercise maybe a little bit of pot control. You see that SPR 4.6 million behind, 5.2 in the pot. You know, you just have one really good street back.
And the turn goes check, check. Pot control exercised. Simoes bets 2 million. Hvam in a spot.
Just an incredibly difficult spot, mostly because it's so difficult to put a hand like ace-3 in the range of what Simoes would be 3-betting pre-flop. Against Hvam's particular stack size, it should mostly just play as a call because you don't want to be 3-bet folding aces heads up. So Hvam has to decide, is my opponent super strong here and has something like pocket aces or ace-queen, and maybe the check was a trap on the turn. If he does have an ace, would he really have played ace-king as a tiny bet on the flop and then a check and then a bet again? So it just reads as a bit weird, and I think it's going to be difficult for Hvam to figure out exactly what Simoes has, and that's why we see the call there, and he's going to get the bad news.
That is an exuberant funeral song being sung for Morten Hvam, who's just had one more nail placed in the coffin.
It's so interesting watching a player like Marcelo Simoes, because as soon as they make one move that you think, okay, well, this is not really the right way you should play this hand on this street, which was pre-flop. But then I just think playing so interestingly post-flop there to get max value from that particular hand. Really small on the flop, a bit sort of weak and pot control-y, and then weak on the turn, and then suddenly come out with this 2 million chip bet when you really shouldn't have ace-rag hands, but he does. And that's what really tripped him up there was Hvam, and I can't help but smile at the ridiculousness of the already owning the trophy.
Whoa. I don't know about this, guys. That feels like bad juju.
Big jinx. That, I'm telling you right now, I don't believe in stuff like that, but that could really come back to haunt them. You know, you don't pick up the Stanley Cup.
Bad Magumbo.
How much? 2.2. 2.2? 2.2, yeah.
We got to get some
But also-
security on that
what's
thing.
going on?
But the fingerprints, hello, we need to polish that thing again.
Wait a second. That was the FPS trophy that his friend won.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's so funny.
The trophy was quite literally in the shot, unless it's like a multiverse kind of thing.
Do we have security in this event?
That was...
You know what? Let's get your mom on security, Stapes.
Lucas Scaffini is on the rail, the winner of the FPS. That is rightfully his trophy.
Okay.
To do with what he pleases.
But we sure whipped Chad up.
Is that
into
true,
the
or is that a
frenzy
joke?
Over it.
My mom's asleep on the rail right now? Oh, my God.
I mean, come on. To be fair, the woman is jet lagged.
She's
Give
had a
her
long
break.
day today.
Yeah.
She was running around with a super high roller, no joke. They went to some town nearby.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Your mom is living her best life right now.
Well, that was the point. Get her out here. Give her a little joy.
Yeah, and call in a bunch of favors from the super high rollers to keep company.
Oh, there's a little silent dancing now, unless we muted them. Still a heads-up match going on, despite all the circus.
30 million chips.
$2 million chips.
I mean, this has to play as a shove pre-flop for Hvam. I think this is a mistake, allowing Simoes to just limp his whole range, get away with it.
Tem mais pontas.
Oh, wow.
O Ás e o Nós é nós.
Simoes called with the up and down draw.
Ele acertou, tem que acertar o Ás e o Nós.
Behind, but plenty of equity. This could be it.
Bit overzealous, I think, just front shoving. About 3x pot here. I know that, like, listen, your opponent has 5% of your chips, but you got to be careful about letting Hvam get back in there with situations like this.
Yeah, it was absolutely Simoes who got the money in. Easy call for Hvam. You know how I feel about open-ended straight draws, though.
Yeah, and we know that a pair is not going to be good against Hvam's king, so the 10's not going to do it.
There's the pair of deuces on the turn.
And a deuce, ace, or 9, and we have our first Brazilian European Poker Tour champion.
Not a 9, not a deuce, not an ace. Double up, Morten Hvam. And we play on.
We play on with Hvam.
It ain't over until it's over.
It ain't over until Stapes' mom wakes up.
Ooh, you got dangerously close there. Dangerously close, Maria.
I would never.
To get
Stapes,
banned.
you already know. Stapes, you already know that your mom and I had our thing. and I would think that we got over it, and now we're friends, and I would never, ever speak about your mother that way again. I'm just
So Morten Hvam has doubled up to 19 big blinds. A shadow of the 34 he started this heads-up match with.
I mean, in fairness, she might be right, because the one thing that might wake her up is if the Brazilian rail explodes.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, quite literally, she's right. But, you know, there's a different, it ain't over till something happens.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah, but this could be like the new thing, you know? The loving mother wakes up on the rail.
Like a Groundhog Day type of thing.
Yeah,
It ain't over till Stape's mom wakes up.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Simoes wins that one. Pocket nines, pre-flop. Blind's going up in a couple of minutes as well. When I say a couple of minutes, I mean exactly 2.
204. You know what really grinds my gears, Griffin? You correcting me all the time.
I actually like you correcting me too often, so no one will ever know when I've actually said something wrong. There goes Griffin with his pedantry again. Simoes raising from the button. Nope,
wrong,
calling.
Wrong, he called.
All right.
He got it wrong.
Sometimes we say the way we think things should be rather than the way things actually are.
Yeah.
Has he flopped top 2 pair on a 3-diamond board?
Top tizzy in the hizzy for Simoes. It's been a long week.
Hvam just leading with this gut shot equity, but no diamond in his hand.
Shut it down, Mike. Shut it down. Back it up. Back it up, Mike. Griffin, what are the odds of flopping a flush with suited cards in your hand?
I don't know. What are they?
2%.
Yeah? I don't know, actually. It was a good guess. I think.
Hvam leading again, and I'm kind of surprised. Okay, well, that was a quick all-in. I was going to say, I'm kind of surprised on the texture on that Simoes just raised then, but at this point, of course, brick turn. Good to see the raise come in.
Maria, we can't hear you. I'm sure whatever you said was very insightful, but unfortunately, he won a 6 big blind pot, so just focus on the celebration. There is a song every time, okay?
I want to know how many pots it would take for them to just wear themselves out. Two Peaks says, if I was Hvam, I would get so annoyed with these rail clowns. Now, one, I don't agree they're clowns. I think that it's loud, but
I don't see any red noses.
Perfectly reasonable, I think. You know, it's a big moment. You're excited. This is what we're here for, to be happy. But I will say, of all the times I've ever seen a rail like this, even bigger ones, even more obnoxious ones, the person they're playing against usually takes it very well. It's really rare that someone's visibly annoyed. I don't know what's going on in the head. Oh.
Yeah, I don't really mind the rail being loud and celebrating after the hand. It'd be different if during the hand, during play, they're loud and that could be very distracting for the players. But I like to see them get excited even about small pots.
You can't win with people, you know? It's either, oh, nobody cares enough, there's no emotion, or, wow, these people are rude.
They care too much.
Pocket 8's faring quite well against Trey Deuce. And this king at Jack 9-6 2-club board. Eight's doing very, very, very well against the board.
He's just like, nah, I can have it. He puts his hand out. Look, he's putting his cards out like, I'm ready to fold. I've decided I'm not interested in this. I literally have the nut low, bro.
Actually, the nut low.
Definitely three deuce, yeah. By the way, I want everyone to know, I know usually we're in vision when we're doing coops and stuff. He was doing the pushing up the glasses thing on his nose. Now, he's only doing that to me alone in a room. I want everyone to know. So I consider this a personal attack.
It's quite aggressive. James said he was going to get water like 15 minutes ago. I think I heard his tires peeling out of the parking lot. I think he's gone. Simoes shoves Jack 10. Does not get called by 6 deuce. Deuce Bigelow. Do they give you comfortable chairs in that room or make you sit on stools?
Stools? Why do you think we're on stools?
Why are those the only two options?
Either you have really comfortable chairs that they've gotten specifically for you, or you're on bar stools.
What do you guys got back there? A couple of lazy boys or some stools? One or the other.
I know you don't got no normal chairs back there.
Are you fully reclined or are you perched?
Perched. I mean, we do know that you guys are in a basement of some sort,
We are
right?
in the basement.
So maybe a cot. Are cots found in basements? Like, what's in a regular basement?
No, the
shackles.
Or typical standard basement.
Cots are more of a cottage vibe, unfortunately.
Do you think cots go in cottages because they both start with COT?
Yes, isn't that how it works?
So there's beds in bed and breakfast?
Yeah, you're getting it, yeah.
And in a hotel you sleep in a hot?
Yeah, it's always hot in the room.
Hvam taking down a small one there on the flop. Hvam back down to 11 big blinds. Started off at 34. Got down to 11. Go ahead, Maria.
Well, and as Griffin mentioned earlier with that King 7, it was kind of surprising to not see Hvam just shove all in pre. And so I hope that, you know, now that he's back down to this effective stack size where he's going to be push folding a good part of his range, that he is going to find those open shoves.
Simoes with 8-5. First to act pre-flop, in position post-flop.
I like the counting out of twos there. It's cute. Nobody counts out in twos anymore, you know?
2. I count out
2, 4, 6. call. Oh, it's a raise.
Most of my bet sizes are determined by like whatever is the amount that I can come up with fast enough that I look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hvam's in with Jack 7 of spades. Top pair for Hvam.
Well. Okay. You guys ready for it?
Second
All in.
pair for Simoes.
240.
All in.
240. Yeah. 240.
240.
Change the language on me.
He's learning. 240, by the way, is the exact amount that Hvam had.
I know. But he didn't say all in.
He did not say
what I
all in.
wanted because I was starting to memorize what it sounded like.
All right, once again, the potential to end this tournament, although 77% of the time we are going to continue.
Would be nice. Playable stack.
So, Andre Akari on the rail for Simoes. Hvam's got a few buddies as well. Simoes immediate outs, 8s and 5s. Marty McFly. 8 on the turn.
Oh my God.
Simoes takes the lead instantaneously.
But you know what, Joe, Maria, everyone else listening at home? It's always coming 7.
Well, Griffin, the odds are not in your favor. There's an 89% chance this is over. And we'll have our first ever Brazilian champion.
Always.
The river's the jack. It's 2 pair for
gosh.
Hvam. A better 2 pair.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness. What a turn. What a river. Hvam catches the miracle after getting done somewhat dirty. I don't know how we count this one. He got the money in good, doubled up, and now has 24 big blinds playing Simoes 101 big blinds.
Still got life.
Not just life.
A rail.
Double the life.
Yeah, and could this be the turning point, you know, just gaining some momentum from getting unlucky and then lucky in an all-in situation, maybe finding another double up, and then it's going to be game on.
Maybe finding 4 or 5 or 6 more double ups. We don't know. Well, we do know mathematically that can't happen. But this could be the start of something beautiful for Morten Hvam, who's got Queen Jack on his button.
We've seen Simoes get aggressive with the ace-X before.
This time just calling. Little off-brand sourdough. Ace-5 offsuit, king high. 2 diamonds. Nobody's got a diamond. Nobody's got a king. Hvam bets 450,000. Continuation bet, and Simoes is like, nah.
Yeah, too strong here, the ace high on a particularly bricky board. There are 2 diamonds, like you said, but You know, you're good a lot of the time here, so you need to continue. You can turn some equity like a wheelie draw. And it's a very tough continue here for Hvam on the turn. If you think about what your opponent's going to be calling with, it's some diamond draws, some eights, kings, and those ace highs. You know, I think you can fold out something like ace 6, ace 7. But if it is a wheelie ace like this, ace 5, picked up more equity. So not a lot of hands that are floats here that I think you're going to get a ton of folds from. Maybe some weak threes.
Yeah, certainly with the 4 of spades as the turn card, you're not going to be getting 8 X's to fold.
Mm-hmm.
And so good portion of their range will continue against
Another
about half pot.
Station from Simoes. Does have the best hand. River card is a 6. So ace high is good.
And at this stage, going to be very difficult for Hvam to pull the trigger. We can see, of course, that if he were to shove, Simoes probably going to have to fold ace 5 high. But if you're in Hvam's shoes, you're thinking, okay, my opponent probably has an 8, maybe even a king, weak king. So do I want to really make this my last stand hand? Nope.
Simoes gonna win this at Showdown. Let's bring James Hardigan back into the booth.
Just in time for more celebrations on the Brazilian rail. And apologies, Joe, I know you've been waiting to take a break for about half an hour. I said I was going to go and fill up my water bottle, and then I got distracted by a number of things. Mainly the fresh air outside. It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long week, and that's not to say it's not been an enjoyable week. And we said this in Prague as well, Griffin. The novelty of having the EPT back and the novelty of calling live poker once again has not gone away. But I'm also starting to feel how long these days have been and how much energy it's taken to get us to this point.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking as someone who at least gets breaks every other sort of level that I do, the amount of work that the you know, the people working for us here with the producers and everyone behind the camera, all the, you know, the dealers here, it's just an incredible amount of work, and so thankful to them for everything they do.
Absolutely, Griffin. And talking of dealers, we're bringing out the big guns. We're bringing Elise to the final table.
One of the best.
Absolutely.
Is she the closer, like in baseball, like comes up for the 9th inning? She always knows how to finish it?
The weird thing is that these days, Elise works on the floor, having been on the tour for so many years now, but I know she loves dealing. I know she loves the thrill of dealing on the main stage. And
oh, that's lovely.
yeah, if there is anyone who deserves to be the closer, it's Elise. Closely followed by Richard Nielsen, who did deal the final hand to both Vicky Corrin and Nikolai Babal when they won their second EPT titles.
That's a great little trivia.
Tell TV asks why she is the best. Watch. You want to see fast dealing, you want to see perfect flops, you're going to see them. Maria.
And I love the card slide so much more than the pitch, you know?
Yes, that's another good observation. I was just going to ask, Maria, despite the double up, I just still feel that Morten Hvam has a hell of a lot of work to do, and you do kind of feel it's a uphill climb.
Yeah, it feels like he's struggled to get momentum at any point. You know, he already doubled up once before the hand just now, but wasn't really able to make anything of it, and then got to a point where he effectively had a shove stack. And now, you know, even giving up on that queen jack and Simoes taking it down with ace high just really put a dent in what he had previously after the double up. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really, really tough road, and Simoes isn't letting up. You know, he's still firmly in control here.
And great comment from Ancient Sofa. Shout out for the first-class commentary over the past 4 days. Thanks to you and all your great guests. And yes, let me just thank everyone now before we get to 4 a.m. and my brain is all fuzzy. Obviously, Griffin, Maria. Suffice to say, Joe Stapleton, Nick Walsh, and all the guests we've had, from Spraggy to Sam Grafton to Finton Hand, Lex Veldhouse. Victoria Corin Mitchell joined us on the stream this week. It's been a fun broadcast, and to echo Griffin's point, the real heroes are the people who stage this production, who rarely get breaks. And, you know, again, without blowing smoke up our own you-know-whats, I just think the coverage, the camera work has just been phenomenal throughout this event.
So good. Let's see another cool pan shot over the trophy to this amazing set.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing how good the production value was in the PokerStars arena, but now to have it back live, I mean, obviously every setup and every shot looks amazing. And it, again, I've had FOMO this whole time. I really wish I was there, but just watching it and also seeing the excitement at the final table, it's just so nice that live poker is back and live poker broadcasts are back.
So we've got 27 minutes left on this level. That's when we'll take our next scheduled break. Should we get there, of course. And to highlight, we are still in a situation where one player has more than 100 bigs and the other has fewer than 20 bigs.
Nice induce hand here, or even induce as a limp. And that's actually what we're seeing from Simoes.
Yeah.
Having seen a lot of shoves from Hvam. But instead, we're going to see a flop, which is nice.
We speculated earlier on that the moment word spread that we were heads up, and the moment word got out that Simoes had this monster chip lead, we would see a few more Brazilians on the rail. And of course, Andre Akari in the house, as we spotted a short while ago. And I imagine we'll see some awesome celebrations should Marcelo Simoes win this and become the first ever Brazilian EPT winner.
Yes, Andre Akari, the godfather of Brazilian poker, comes in there once they get heads up.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to come.
And Andre being one of those people that I'm surprised hasn't won an EPT, you know, definitely one of the regulars on the tour and has been playing for so long and has had a lot of accolades and built up his resume really nicely. So very surprising.
That's actually a beautiful point, because as we've talked about this, there has never been a Brazilian EPT winner, and Akari's really been the biggest representative of that country. And, you know, it's probably been like a bit of the white whale, not just for him, but for his people. So I'm not surprised at all that he won't miss a beat of this heads up from this stage forward.
Jack 8 versus King 6. Advantage Hvam going to the flop, which is low cards. Hvam with King High, and the straight draw is now a 4-1 favorite. Check, check. Queen of Spades on the turn. Hvam now an 86% favorite. And look at this.
Don't get too jaded, Simoes.
Betting the turn, 300,000.
Always got to be careful with the Jack 8. I'm with the tennis shoes. Gonna call. Oh, wow.
How good does this guy run? How many rivers has this guy caught?
Yeah, and you can see why, you know, it's tough for Hvam to gain any momentum or traction when Simoes still keeps making hands. It's so tough to make hands heads up and connect with the board in a meaningful way. And when your opponent does that, it's going to be very, very tough to beat.
That tower is... I made a comment earlier about wanting to knock it down. I don't want to knock down the man's tower, but it'd be cool at the end if he just sort of like, you know, just like in celebration, not like throws it everywhere so people have to pick it up, but just look at it. It's just... It's the Lego kid in me, you know.
But maybe a color up is in order. I don't know.
I don't know. It's pretty cool. Look at that. Cinematic.
He doesn't have to stack them like that. I, for one, am glad that he has, but he doesn't have to stack them like that.
There is something, this feeling in the air, this feeling of inevitability. No matter how many times Morten Hvam doubles up, seems to find himself back down to 2, 3, 4 million, and that's just not the way you're going to be able to catch up to that monstrous near 30 million chip stack of the Brazilian contender.
But I will say, you know, credit to Hvam just not losing patience, though.
That is true.
Sometimes it could be very frustrating, but still really trying to make good decisions and wait for a good situation.
I mean, there is a 100 big blind difference between them right now.
That's the thing.
113 playing 13.
For me, it's a 9 lives thing, right? Like I appreciate that he's found a way to stay in it, but you know, has been all in twice. Once against open-ended in a pair by the turn, and another time was drawing to a jack or a 7 and got there. And that's what that feeling is when I'm talking about. Is that like, you know, how many more he can't lose once, right? He needs to double up every time to get from his 12 big blinds to Marcelo's 113. Very difficult to do. So you got to win the next one, and you can't bleed down again because eventually you're done. You're cooked.
So we've highlighted multiple times that Marcelo is looking to become the first ever Brazilian winner. And with Morten, he could become the first Danish winner in more than a decade. We had this incredible run of Danish winners back in 2012. 3 of them back-to-back.
Wow.
The last of the 3 was Yannick Rang. He won Campione, the only time the EPT ever went there.
I went there that year. Was it 2012, 13?
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah, I was there. That might have been my first EPT, or at least one that little. They had them all kind of like in a row there, right?
Absolutely. It was a very busy period for the tour. I mean, there were so many events that year, and Yannick Rang was the last of the 3 Danes and the last Danish champion we've had on the tour. It has been more than 10 years now.
So what were the stops? It was, am I remember correctly, Berlin, Campione, Monte Carlo. Was it San Remo in there?
So in 2012, it would have gone Copenhagen, Madrid, Campione, and then Monte Carlo?
Yeah, that sounds right, because I went to Monte Carlo and Campione. Yeah.
Yeah, San Remo that year was in the autumn because the World Series of Poker Europe was down the Riviera in Cannes.
Right.
So they would run those 2 events.
I love
back to
testing
back.
your trivia, your PokerStars trivia sometimes. Like when you were reading the list of all the winners from Monte Carlo, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I wonder if James could get this every single year without looking at that list. It's too fresh for you now, so I...
Even without the graphic, I'm ashamed to say yes, I would have known all of them and the years.
Well, what if I say the winners of... Oh, here we go, all in.
Yeah, but
and a quick fold.
Not being called by 5-3.
What about if I say, you know, EPT Barcelona? Do you think you could do it from the first year?
Oh, I think I could do most of them. There might be a few kind of like brain farts that would stop me getting a few
and
of them.
How many years
do you want me to
have
try?
we done Barcelona? I do, yeah.
Okay, so 2004, Alexander Stevic. 2005, Jan Bubli. 2006, Björn Erik Glenner.
Pretty good so far.
2007, Sander Liloff. 2008, Sebastian Ruthenberg. 2009, Carter Phillips. 2010, Kent Lemark. 2011, Martin Schleich. 2012, Nikolai Pabal. 2013, Tom Middleton. 2014, Andre Letau. 2015, John Juanda. 2016, Sebastian Mallet. 2017, Sebastian Sorensen. 2018, Pieter Nijinsky. 2019, Simon Brandstrom. Thank you and good night.
Never a doubt. Like,
Mic drop.
I mean, we're going to have to get the team to confirm all that, but I think the conviction to which you did it feels like it must be right. The producers just confirmed James is never wrong, so no need to look it up. Simoes with technically the best hand here. And a situation where if this goes check down, which it very well could, it's just going to have him pipped in a really silly little way on this pot.
Job says he got 2016 wrong. You're telling me Sebastian Mallet did not win in 2016? Because trust me, I remember that one very, very clearly. It's in the opening titles of the show.
Are we surprised to see the King 8 continue here against that bet? I mean, it was a pretty small size, but still, you know, what's the best you could really hope for on a four-liner?
Yeah, Hvam could just be sort of value block betting something like a 4 or 3, which we've seen him do kind of these small bets with. So the fact that Simoes was called correctly, I mean, the guy is dodging bullets, baby.
Yeah, and Hvam doesn't follow through on the river, and just a bit frustrating to see this hand continue and then
Kate over Kevin.
Notched.
Oh.
Kate beats Kevin.
I mean, so dispiriting for Morten Hvam, who, as we referenced a short while ago, is facing this huge uphill struggle. He is swimming through treacle. Roll out your cliches. He's not having a fair time of it. And of course, should we get to the break in 16 minutes, the blinds will go up and Hvam's stack will become even shallower.
I mean, to be frank, that particular hand, I kind of like that Hvam got punished there because it just didn't seem like a necessary bet in the first place. So the fact that Simoes somehow found a call is kind of this cool little mini small pot karma that I'm kind of here for.
Okay, Griffin, thanks for that. So basically, Maria, Griffin wants people to lose chips if they get things wrong.
No, it's just like the fact is the bet probably should have worked, even though it was maybe an unnecessary bet. And the fact that it didn't is just, I don't know, like I'm saying, man, I think Simoes, this is just a matter of time. Bold take. With this 10-1 chip edge.
I mean, of course, Simoes just flops 2 pairs. It's what he does.
I think it does bear repeating that, you know, I mean, I'm seeing a couple of, and this is pretty standard for what you can see on some of the comments. Sometimes some judgments be made about a player that is appearing to be running good or lucky, but this player is number 2 in the BSOP leaderboard right now,
Correct.
which is the Brazilian sort of series out there. So, you know, this is not someone this is someone who has a lot of experience playing for good amounts of money. This isn't some random person that tripped over themselves and found themselves in this position. There's a lot of experience and certainly plays a little interesting and colors outside the lines, but not someone that is just some random fish, as you guys in the chats have been saying. Certainly running well. Nice.
I mean,
nice,
Maria, I'm fed up with having to justify the fact that no one has ever won a poker tournament without getting lucky at some point or in multiple points.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to, even to make the final table, right? You have to have run pretty well to get to this point, especially with over 1,000 entrants.
Yeah.
And so at this point, you know, it's really just par for the course to be running hot at the final table. But, you know, the way that Simoes has played his chip lead is definitely somebody that understands what ICM does to the way that your opponents will have to play against you having the chip lead. And so I think for that, a lot of people are underestimating or overlooking the things that Simoes has done well.
Absolutely. I mean, credit to both these guys for outlasting 1,071 opponents, making it to this stage. And just to echo one more time, it's been long, grueling days to get to this point.
The one time, I think, in this entire heads up that we have seen Simoes give a walk, waits for the single worst hand in poker, and his opponent Hvam with 2 queens. So, yeah, this is really going his way.
That, in microcosm, Maria, highlights how badly this heads-up battle is going for Morten Hvam. Finally gets a hand, and his opponent just open folds.
It's just a cosmic joke for him at this point.
Right. I would go as far to even call that getting unlucky, right? It's just like the fact that you are getting unlucky there with having queens. It's not even just that your opponent ends up, you know, folding. It's like that's actually characterized as being pretty unlucky. Like that's a bad beat in and of itself at this point.
Eight-5 versus 10-8, a domination situation, and 10 high still ahead on an ace-king-6 flop. And a better 250,000 from Hvam gets a fold, hovering around the 15 big blind mark. Just shy of 4 million chips with 10 minutes left on the clock. We're about to play hand 167 of the final table. Jack 4 on the button for Simoes.
Gonna play this as a min raise. It's not really a great hand to limp with, and you don't want to give your opponent a walk. So I kind of like this to be played as a raise. A little surprised to see Hvam call with just the queen deuce, but this is a tendency of Hvam's we've seen actually for a few days now. Very prepared to call super light from the big blind. Just think with this stack size, it gets a little difficult to play.
So we got second pair for Simoes, bottom pair for Hvam, who checks to the pre-flop aggressor. Simoes will continue with his pair of jacks and is continuing for 375,000. Maria, what do you do here with a pair of deuces?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You expect that Simoes is going to be opening on the button, you know, somewhat wide because they can still open and fold against your 3-bet shoves. So they don't necessarily need to have just the top of their range here by any means. You have a piece of it. Maybe you can just continue and try to make 2-pair trips perhaps, see what your opponent does on the turn when check 2.
Well, he's decided to move all in, and Simoes is sitting there with second pair. Doesn't know it, but he has 77% equity.
Yeah, but some kicker problems. Might be able to talk himself into a fold, which would really suck considering what Hvam actually has. This is just a weird spot. You know, you're going to expect your opponent to shove a lot of the big kings probably pre-flop, but could certainly have, you know, if he has queen deuce, could have king 7, king 6, so many different kings, and you have the worst possible jack other than jack 3. So, you know, even if your opponent has jack 9 here, what are you calling for? So what are you beating? Hard to put queen deuce in the range, right? So
Yeah.
I think that even if we do see a fold from Simoes here, I don't think it's a mistake. I just think it's like a weird sort of hand distribution of like what he ended up having. And I wouldn't be surprised if Simoes does fold here.
And if he does call, it could be over, but he decides to fold and we play on.
Yeah, and I think what makes that, you know, fold a little bit better than it seems, because obviously we can see the hands and see that he was ahead, is the fact that there aren't really that many draws. There's not like this obvious flush draw
exactly,
where, you know, you expect that Hvam would be check raising those or check jamming those. And so because of that, I don't mind the fold either.
Yeah, and the open-ended straight flush, pardon me, the open-ended straight draw would have been queen 10, which I think might play as a shove pre-flop to that min raise. Yeah. So very little chance of a straight draw, no chance of a flush draw because there's no flush out there. So I think that's probably right to fold there, even though it feels weird heads up like this.
Well, that takes us to hand 168. As this level comes to an end. King 10 for Morten Hvam. And he raises the button, makes it 500,000. Marcelo Simoes has kings.
I would love to see just a call here from Simoes. I think it's really important not to get greedy here. Any re-raise is going to see as ridiculously strong. And you know your opponent's playing about 16 big blinds, it just looks highly suspect. So I don't think this is the right line from Simoes here, but I think Hvam might be too strong to fold, whether that's it comes in the form of just shoving or calling.
The 3-bet is to 1.3 million. And Hvam makes the call, so we aren't going to the flop. Simoes, obviously a huge favorite here. The flop is 9-7-6, so a gut shot straight draw for Hvam. 2 overs to the board, but a huge dog. Simoes, 4-1 favorite, and he's loading up to bet.
Yeah, and if you're in Hvam's shoes at this stage, especially with the 10 of diamonds as well, I just want to take your equity.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see Hvam get aggressive with this type of hand on this flop. You know, if Simoes was 3-betting with the big aces type hands like the ace X, the ace queens, the ace jacks and stuff, if you jam here, they may fold, and that is just such a great infusion to your stack to be able to take this down. And if you get called, you feel like your perceived equity is going to be pretty.
He's moved all in, and he's been snap called, and this could be it. Kings versus King 10. And 4 immediate outs for Morten Hvam.
Não fala essas cartas assim, cara, que eles vão estar atrás.
Is Hvam going to hit again? Or is this Marcelo's moment?
Uma carta de ouro. Uma carta de ouro.
That rail is going to make so much noise if it comes brick, brick.
Sem rasca, sem rasca.
Yeah, sound warning.
Calma, não vamos ficar quietinho.
That takes away the possibility of a diamond draw. Not that that would have helped Hvam. And that jack on the river means it is over. We have our champion. It is Marcelo Simoes who becomes the first ever Brazilian EPT winner.
Vamo indeed.
Amazing.
The winner of the FPS main event lifts the winner of the EPT main event into the air.
Well played.
Fantastic scenes on the stage.
I'm getting emotional, I'll be honest. History being made here at EPT Monte Carlo, the first Brazilian champion. I couldn't believe it when I heard it at this event that they hadn't won one yet. And the unlikely Simoes takes it down.
564 grand for the runner-up. 940 grand for the champion. Congratulations indeed, and congratulations to Morten Hvam.
Mas tu ficou quieto.
Eu comemorei, mas deixa o cara quieto. Meu Deus. Vamos.
Capture the moment. So much energy from this rail. Such a great way to celebrate the first winning moment on this stage in 3 years.
I think there might be some hungover Brazilians playing Scoop tomorrow. A lot to celebrate for the entire country, but especially Marcelo Simoes.
We will give this man his trophy in just a moment. Just let him enjoy. Just let it sink in what he's achieved. And what a strange dynamic to this final table.
Gil. Que pressão é essa? Não, Gil.
6 or 7 hours of play. No eliminations.
Nacho, bueno. Não, você, América do Sul.
Nacho's here as well.
América do Sul.
Nacho!
Barbero!
We went on dinner break, we came back, all 6 players returned, and then it was wham bam, thank you Hvam, our runner-up. And Marcelo Simoes sealed the deal. Let's recap how it went down. Let's just run through the final table of the main event one more time. The last remaining qualifier, Erkan Cervantes, first man out. 6th place. Then we lost Hugo Pingray. Got it in good, but that 9 on the turn was brutal. Cervantes lost a flip against Morten Hvam. He hit the rail in 4th for just shy of 300k. And then Dragos Trofimov went out in 3rd for just shy of 400k. And then we were heads up. Morten Hvam never really got it going. Was all in, way behind, didn't improve. And Marcelo Simoes is the EPT Monte Carlo 2022 champion. So we did have the prospect of a deal. Hvam and Simoes looked at the numbers, but no deal was done. So we pay out the advertised sums. 564,640 euros to the runner-up. Nearly 940 grand to the winner. And soon it'll be time to present him with his trophy. Let's go outside and join our friend and colleague, Joe Stapleton.
After 5 long days of play, EPT Monte Carlo has come to a thrilling end. Huge thanks to all the dealers, staff, our hosts here at SBM, and of course, to all of the players. Now for our winner, taking home almost €1 million, the trophy, our first ever champion from Brazil. Let's get a big round of applause for Marcelo Simoes. What a rail, what a winner. Enjoy the celebration.
Fantastic stuff. So EPT Monte Carlo is in the books. Check out all the details on the PokerStars blog. A reminder, the EPT will be in Barcelona in August, and Scoop starts tomorrow. Make sure you join us for Cards Up coverage on the PokerStars Twitch and YouTube channels. We start streaming this coming Wednesday. That is May the 11th. We will have the 10K High Roller and many other events over the course of the Spring Championship of Online Poker. But remember, guys, we are now saying good night from Monaco.